What's going on, everybody? And we are logging on to episode 136 of the podcast. We got a special type of episode for you guys, as we're not talking about movies this time. We aren't doing a spotlight interview, but we are doing another top 5 episode, but this time it's in the realm of amusement parks. That's right, we are doing the top 5 favorite amusement parks of both of ours. And by both of ours, I mean myself and my guest for today, my brother, Tommy McKnight. Thank you for being here, my man.
What's up, everyone?
So it's been a while since you last been on the pod, since the Hot Takes podcast days, actually, like early on, and then you haven't been on for a while. Were you a part of that Cousins one?
No.
Oh, you weren't a part of that.
I think
Cousins
I was working.
On Christmas Eve? That was filmed on Christmas Eve.
I remember being busy. I wasn't home. I got home. No, I think I was working.
Yeah, you might have been, actually. Right, yeah. But welcome back to the podcast, the new and improved podcast, as I'd like to say, as it's now logging on. In fact, it just passed a year. August 1st, it's been a year since we've officially been logging on, so very proud of that, and we are 36 episodes in since we changed to logging on. So, all right, we're talking about amusement parks this whole time. I wanted to have you on this podcast specifically because you are a big enthusiast of theme parks, amusement parks, roller coasters, everything of that nature. So the first thing I would like to ask you is, what really got you so interested in roller coasters, rides, and amusement parks in general? What's the fascination towards it to you?
Well, it wasn't like it wasn't a calling to me. It wasn't like something that was telling me that I had to do it. But, I was just bored one day, and I mean, I always liked Six Flags. I always went to Six Flags.
Same here, yeah.
With my friends and everything. And I think what really came down to it is just one day I was just scrolling through YouTube, and I kind of just found this whole community on there. Like, this whole community. And, but they're not like your average vloggers where they're just like, oh, yeah, we're going to do this and this. No,
right.
Like, they're, like, talking about things that I don't even understand. I don't even know what they're saying. They're, like, being really technical about the
ride
stuff.
mechanics and everything? Yeah.
So I'm like, what the hell? Like, there's a whole other side to it that I never even knew.
Sure.
So I decided to do a little digging, and I, like, looked up, like, all the terms and what they meant and stuff.
They're probably all engineering terms, really. Yeah.
And engineering terms, and then also just, like, lingo, I guess. Like, they have this one term called GP. It stands for General Public. So, like, for example, if you're standing in a line, and then you heard someone be like, oh, yeah, like, I heard this ride, like, fell off the track and everyone died. Complete lie.
Right.
They just think they heard that, so then, you would call them, like, GP. I think it's kind of cringy, but that is what people do.
Well, just like everything else on the internet, things get posted to get a rise out of something.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
But, yeah, so I think, I don't know what was really my, like, call to action, but eventually I met someone named James. His Instagram is Coaster Complex.
Okay.
And...
You met him before?
No, I gotta be honest, I can't really remember how I met them. I'm really blanking on that.
Yeah.
But, I pretty much got introduced to that whole group, including the first person I saw on YouTube. His name's Officer O'Leary.
Okay.
And I just hung out with them, and I was like, oh, this is like a pretty cool thing, right? So I just started hanging out with them a little bit. And that's when I really started going to Six Flags, like, a lot. Like, I was already going to Six Flags a good amount.
Yeah, of course.
But then I started going a lot. I actually have a whole Google Doc on my phone that documents every time I went. And in 2021 alone, I went 37 times throughout the year.
Well, that's great. And it's a blessing that we're only, like, 20 minutes away from Great Adventure. Back in the day, for me... Love Six Flags as well. I was going about every weekend too, especially during the summers, with a bunch of my friends. And then when Fright Fest came along and everything like that, that was always hype. But yeah, it was so convenient that we're 20 minutes away from the Jackson Six Flags. And, it's crazy to think that Great Adventure has become I feel like one of the most biggest tourist Six Flags amusement parks.
For sure.
Because of the rides that they came up with for that park. And we'll get into that later when we get into our top 5 list. But I myself always been a huge fan of roller coasters and whatnot. I loved Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. Platinum. I used to play that all the time. I built my amusement park from scratch in the sandbox mode, and they give you a square area. I forgot how many square foot they said it was, but I filled up the whole thing. I made it all themed, mainly all superheroes and stuff like that. I think I called it like Frank World or something like that. It was the best time ever. I really want to get that. Hopefully that game gets like remastered or something for the computer. I would definitely play that again.
I'll tell you what, I don't know about Roller Coaster Tycoon, but there is a newer
from the same developers, right? I have it on PlayStation.
I don't know if it's from the same developer. I think it's kind of I think it was on PS Plus at one point.
It was free for PlayStation Plus.
I don't remember what it's called. Planet Coaster.
Planet Coaster.
Yeah.
Planet Coaster Console Edition.
That's what everyone's on, and I don't want to say it because I might get called a GP or whatever. But I think, actually, I don't know. No, there is a software that actual engineers use to see if a coaster would actually work.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like they test it in a software to see the gravity, the G-force, make sure no one would get hurt or anything.
You see, I like how they get more into specifics nowadays when it comes to games like that, even though not many games like that are made nowadays anymore. Especially the Tycoon games, like they even had Zoo Tycoon and everything like that. But yeah, Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, Platinum specifically, because that also added the safari elements and the water park elements to the game, and that was just my shit there. What else did I want to bring up? Oh, you have your own YouTube channel. I don't know if you're still active with it or whatnot, but I think it's called Everything SFADV.
Yeah, it was everything. It was really long. Everything SFGADV.
Oh, right.
Six Flags Great Adventure.
Right.
No, I'm not really active on it anymore. I kind of rebranded it, but I haven't posted anything yet.
And that channel was mainly vlogs of going to the park and whatnot.
Yeah.
And even some like little documentary episodes on their coasters and everything.
Yeah,
like
I did updates on Jersey Devil Coaster
when it was getting constructed. Built. Yes.
And I did also like discussion, not like I guess just topics like what if Green Lantern like turned from like a stand-up coaster to a sit-down coaster?
Would it be better?
Like how would it work?
Right.
And then I
cool.
did one where it was like, I don't know if you're too familiar with the company Cedar Fair.
I heard of Cedar Point.
Yeah, it's the same. The company is called Cedar Fair.
Oh, okay.
So they own a couple of parks. So one of them was like, what if Cedar Fair bought Great Adventure? Like, what would come from that?
I'm sure it would be a lot better park, but
what it is right now. Yeah,
we'll definitely get more into
I have
it
some
on our top
comments to
5
make about how the park is right now.
Oh, okay, very nice. Yeah, one of the other things I wanted to bring up before we got into this top 5 list is that we brought up the Jersey Devil coaster just before. That had some long process of getting built because of COVID and everything like that. And speaking of COVID, I feel like these rides weren't as well maintained during those, say, 2 years when COVID was at full height, that I feel like rides started breaking down a little bit when parks reopened and everything, especially El Toro, which I believe it was last year or 2 years ago. Both years.
Yeah.
Both years, both times it derailed?
No, the first time the back car partially derailed. And then the second time there was a really bad pothole in the track that caused, like, I think lower back injuries.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's what you have to expect, though, from a wooden roller coaster.
It should be maintained better, though.
110%.
There's no reason for that.
110%. And that also gets me worried, and I'm sure a lot of other people worry, too, about, being safe on these rides and whatnot. Speaking of being safe on these rides, I've been seeing so many videos on TikTok and everything like that of carnival rides that have been, like, say it's a tall, flat ride, and it tips over or something like that. I've been seeing crazy videos like that, and I'm like, listen, I'll still go on roller coasters, I'll still go skydiving and everything. That doesn't bother me. But carnival rides, different story. I don't trust them at all. And it makes sense that I don't trust them because they get built and unbuilt in the course of like 2 days and travels across the place. So they can't be that safe. I don't trust them at all.
No, absolutely. I don't trust carnival rides either, and especially knowing everything that I know.
Yeah.
Super sketchy. You could look it up. Like, if you go on Reddit, there's tons of people who have either, like, witnessed or have constructed the rides themselves. They're built in a day. They're built in 2 days.
That's crazy.
And when they're missing parts or something, like, they will use, like, they will go to, like, Home Depot and, like glue, tape, some type of nail.
That's so crazy to me.
You know, like, it's the sketchiest thing you could possibly go on, and I just gotta say, I would not recommend trying it.
Yeah.
Because, especially if you're near a theme park. Like,
yeah.
Why would you want to ride? Like, I get it. They might be cool in the moment, but, like, they're just so sketchy. I just would not recommend riding them at all.
No. I mean, first off, there has to be some sort of regulation procedure as far as those things getting built and whatnot. Like, built in 2 days. Yeah. They make them themselves. Going to Home Depot. Mm-hmm. That can't be allowed. That can't be allowed. We're talking about life or death, actually, when it comes to these rides at certain points, or major injuries. I was at the Monmouth County Fair last week, and a couple of my friends were going on some of the rides. They went on that one called the Zipper. It's a flat ride. And, you know, before I even get into that, let's explain what a flat ride is, and then, like, what, you know, everyone knows what a roller coaster is. But a flat ride is basically like your carousel or tornado spin or Ferris wheel, things of that nature. Those are flat rides, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, okay. So, anyway, they went on this one called the Zipper, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's that one, it's like one very thin oval, and then they have like the compartments like a Ferris wheel, and they spin.
Yeah.
So they're going on that. It's a tall flat ride. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going on this. I'm not going on it. In fact, I would say that the Monmouth County Fair maybe has higher standards to their rides that they build up there because of the amount of people that go to the Monmouth County Fair. A lot of people go to the Monmouth County Fair, and it's in the course of 4 to 6 days or something like that. But still, not about that at all. But yeah, you know what you're telling me right now, that actually bewilders me that it gets built in like 2 days and whatnot. Yeah. More people should know that, honestly, before making the decision of going on one of those rides. But all right, let's get into our top 5 favorite amusement park list. The way we're gonna do it, make it work, we'll do 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, and so on. So I have not been to as many amusement parks as Tommy has, but I have been to a fair share of them. Let's just say that. Some of them on my list are the same company, you know, of a park, and others are not at all. So we will get right into it. My number 5 is Disney World. Now, I have my love-hate relationship with Disney as just a company.
I think everyone does right now.
I think everyone does right now, for sure, especially with the actors and writers' strike and everything going on like that. Bob Iger making some stupid comments and everything. But it's not just that for me, though, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you know, when it comes to their park, what I'll say, what I appreciate a lot about their parks, especially Disney World, because it's bigger than Disneyland.
Yeah.
They get you very immersed in whatever section of the park you're in, depending on what themed world it is, like Toy Story World. Crazy decorations and everything. It's just awesome. I heard the Avatar Pandora world is extremely immersive. I haven't been to Disney World in a very, very long time. The last time I was there, I was very young. I probably went like twice to Disney World Florida trip when I was younger, and then I even did 1 year on the Disney cruise, which I guess you could contribute into Disney World in a sense. Yeah. And it's all fantastic. It's very, very immersive, and I'll always appreciate that. I know they call them the Imagineers, right?
Yeah, Imagineers.
The Imagineers instead of engineers. Yeah. I actually like that title, as corny as it may seem. It's cool, and the title fits the job. They do a great job in immersing the people that go there. Now, some of the things why it's on my at the bottom of my list. I hate to keep on bringing COVID back into the conversation, but I am right now with this instance. I thought they did a terrible job in their rules and regulations, and especially how long they kept those rules and regulations going on for, especially when COVID started to go on its downfall in a good way. The whole thing with the mask procedure, how many people that was allowed in the park that day, how you couldn't hug, like kids couldn't hug the characters and everything like that. Like I saw videos of like the escort person that like walks around with the characters to make sure they're safe. Yeah. Like they would stop the kids from running up and hugging them and everything. I just find that so sad. And part of that isn't their fault because COVID was scary at one point in time. But then it got to a certain point where people were getting vaccinated. It wasn't as bad anymore, and it's just stupid. It annoyed me, and I wasn't even there. It still annoyed me. So that's why Disney World is at my number 5. Some of the rides there that are great, and I'm talking about Disney World as a whole, like Epcot and Animal Kingdom and all that stuff. All amazing. Magic Kingdom, more specifically. The Bugs Life ride at Animal Kingdom, I don't know if that's still there anymore. I might have heard that it's not there anymore, actually.
I just went there last summer, and I don't recall seeing
Bugs Life. Man.
Maybe I just didn't pass it, though.
Yeah, that was like a Shrek 4D ride, like at Universal Studios. It was one of those type of rides where you're basically watching a screen, the seats are moving and everything like that. But that ride was great. There was a ride that I've always heard was great, and then they changed it into a Lilo and Stitch ride, but I think it was called like Alien Escape or something like that. That was a more sensational, like gets you in all the feels and everything, very immersive ride there. The Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal ride there too. And Tower of Terror.
I did not get to experience that last summer.
You did, but no. Didn't that get changed to the Guardians of the Galaxy? No. Oh, they're two separate things.
Guardians of the Galaxy is a completely new roller coaster. It's in Epcot.
No. Yes, I heard that ride's there now, but there's another Guardians of the Galaxy ride. It's like a free fall ride. Am I wrong on that?
That might be Disneyland.
That might be Disneyland then. So Tower of Terror is still there at Epcot.
Yeah.
Okay, got
Not
it.
at Epcot. That's in Hollywood Studios.
Hollywood Studios. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, and the last complaint, not really complaint, because it's what they're going for. It's just not for me. Too many kiddie rides, but it's for the kids. It's for the younger audience. So that's why all that in a whole right there. That's why Disney World lands at my number 5. I don't even have Disneyland on my list. I did enjoy it when I was there when we were in California, but it doesn't even compare to Disney World, like at all. And Disneyland was the first one, I believe, that came into the U.S. before Disney World.
I'm not too sure.
I'm pretty confident in saying that. Actually, I think that's a fact. But anyway, you could move on to your number 5.
So my number 5, I think it also has to be Disney World.
Oh, okay.
Mainly for that last reason you said. There are just too many kiddie rides for me to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same problem I have with Universal Studios. Where it is a lot of 4D.
A lot of 4D stuff, yeah.
Immersive stuff.
Yes.
That's not what I'm looking for,
Yeah.
personally. I'm looking for the most extreme roller coaster I can find.
You're looking for the thrill.
Yeah, I'm looking for the thrill, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the sporty rides, they're cool, but again, it gets old after you ride 3 of them, and then there's like a couple more. Like,
Yeah.
you get the experience. It's like kind of copy paste, you know. There's no need to have more than 2 or 3 4D rides.
I agree with that.
So, you know, with Disney, like, it's cool. They're really thematic.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like when you go there, like, you know, they actually do care about how you feel, which, like, a lot of parks don't, especially the Six Flags chain, very, I'd say budget.
Oh, sure.
Six Flags, like,
sure.
when you walk around, there's, like, nothing. It's
Yeah.
just the rides and pavement.
Yeah,
pretty much.
right.
Disney, you know, there's castles, there's old buildings,
Yeah.
and, like, you know, characters and statues and gardens and all that. But yeah, another complaint I have about Disney right now is actually it affected a lot of parks. COVID, we were just talking about
Right.
COVID. But for me specifically, it's the procedures they implemented on how to get into the park. So when COVID started, I believe they added reservations, which a lot of parks did.
Yes.
You needed a reservation, and then you needed a ticket after the reservation. So normally that wasn't a problem, especially with Great Adventure. I had no problem with it.
I didn't know Great Adventure did that too.
Yeah, Great Adventure
Oh,
did that.
okay.
However, Disney has not gotten rid of reservations.
They
It
haven't.
is still there. So you still need a reservation.
Oh my
And let's
God.
just say you go to Florida and you're like, yeah, I want to go to Disney.
Probably
You
impossible.
can't reserve it.
Probably impossible. You
Probably
probably got to
impossible.
plan that months in
Yeah.
advance.
And that's the problem now, where you have to plan your Disney trips weeks, months in advance, because it is just so obnoxiously frustrating
Yeah.
to plan a day there. Why are we in 2020, midway through 2023, and we still need reservations? I don't know. It's ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Also, their annual prices have skyrocketed.
Sure.
I'm
not surprised by that.
and they also sell out. Like,
Yeah.
they have a limited edition of season passes. That's ridiculous. You
Yeah.
know, like, what? Oh, sorry, you can't get one. You're just gonna have to pay day by day. Like, what kind
That's
of
obvious.
system is that?
It's not a good system for the people, but it's obviously better for them.
Yeah, of
They're
course.
definitely making more money off that way.
Because they're bombing in the box office, which
Oh yeah,
they deserve
you're right.
to.
Well, I agree. I agree on that. I absolutely agree on that. But I wanted to also mention about Disney World that you brought up. What was it? The reservations thing. I heard someone I follow on YouTube, John Campia. He does movie reviews and everything like that. He's a big fan of Disney World, or was a big fan of Disney World. When that reservation thing first came about, he ranted about that shit the whole time on the episode of how much it's a ridiculous, stupid idea. It barely works. He was even going to the extent of saying that not only do you have to make the reservation and then get a ticket for entering the park, but then you also had to make reservations for each ride you wanted to go on.
Depending on the ride, yes, you need a reservation to get on the new Star Wars ride. If
Okay.
you don't get a reservation,
You're not going on it that day. You see, and that would suck for people that don't know that's
Yeah.
what they have to do.
Exactly.
You could be a huge Star Wars fan. You're going to the park specifically for that. Spend all that money to enter the park just to find out that you can't go on it.
actually, you know what? I think they got rid of that Star Wars reservation recently, but it was a thing for a while, and
Yeah.
it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you didn't get into a boarding group, that's what they called them. Sorry. Better luck next time.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Oh, one other good thing about Disney World that I do really like actually is their hotel areas that they have. They have nice pools there that are also themed and everything like that. If you're a little kid, you're loving it there at those hotels. The
Yeah.
characters are there also. They have the character breakfasts and everything like that. It is good in that sense. So we'll end with Disney World on that good note for sure. But there's definitely plenty wrong with going there and everything like that. All right, my number 4. We brought it up already plenty, but it is Six Flags Great Adventure. it definitely couldn't be my number 5.
Yeah, it's pretty high up, actually, I would say.
It pretty low on my list, actually.
Yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
Here's the thing. Great Adventure will always be a staple in my heart. Say I go to 20 more new theme parks in the rest of my lifespan, Great Adventure will always still be in my top 5. No matter where it's placed there, it'll always be in my top 5 because of, like we said before, how close we live, how many times we've been there, and show how we've seen the park grow, or in some instances fail and whatnot. And back in the day, that was my shit, Great Adventure. I remember when I was younger, and I was in love with roller coasters and everything like that, but I was a short kid back in the day, and I couldn't get on the rides. One of my favorite memories of Uncle Eddie was that he would always put the Pokemon cards in my shoes, so I look a little bit taller, and it actually worked from time to time. That'll always be a great memory of mine. And once I finally got taller and everything and got to go on everything else, I loved the park. I still do love the park. But it also comes with my complaints too. Before I get into my complaints, I want to say some of the accomplishments that Great Adventure has had, as at one point having the fastest and tallest roller coaster in the world, Kingda Ka. I believe El Toro still has the record for biggest wooden roller coaster drop in the world as well. I don't know if that still holds the record for that.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but I know it was at one point. That's how they were promoting it when it was first coming out. Jersey Devil Coaster, their latest coaster, I'm pretty sure it's the first of that type of coaster, if I'm not mistaken.
First on the East Coast.
First on the East Coast. Still huge. That's still huge. What else? And, then they have their classic rides. Like, their two best rides there, I think, roller coaster wise, is El Toro and Nitro. El Toro's fantastic, especially for a wooden roller coaster. That ride's phenomenal. Yeah. And Nitro is just an all-time classic and phenomenal as well. As far as flat rides there, me, you, and Eddie went on Wonder Woman. That was my first time on Wonder Woman, Lasso of Truth. That ride's phenomenal. I actually think that's the best ride as a whole in the park.
Really? Including roller coasters?
Including roller coasters.
Wow, that's crazy.
Really? No, I think so,
it's crazy.
Dude. I think so. I think that ride is phenomenal. Back in the day, I don't think you've ever been on this, but Batman and Robin the Chiller. No. That ride had so many problems, had so many malfunctions and everything like that. No one got hurt.
No.
But it wouldn't work all the time. But we were lucky enough to go on one side because it was Batman coaster and Robin coaster. They were right next to each other. They raced and they go backwards at one point too. I think we went on the Robin side. That ride was phenomenal. I was so heartbroken that they took that down. Even more heartbroken that they replaced it with the Dark Knight coaster, which is a horrible ride. A horrible ride. And you know what? I do like those type of coasters. I believe that's a mouse coaster.
It's a mousetrap, yeah.
It's a mouse trap, right?
I believe that's what it's referred to.
Yeah. Mousetrap coaster, whatever you want to call it. Those rides are only good when they aren't enclosed in a building. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have those sharp turns and you feel like you're about to fall off, but you lose that effect of feeling like you're about to fall off if everything's pitch black and you don't know how high up you are or anything of that nature. So that was a tragedy in my opinion. What else? Kingda Ka is great. Superman Ultimate Flight. A lot of people are uncomfortable on that ride. I'm a little uncomfortable on that ride laying down like that, but it's still a phenomenal ride. Green Lantern, I can't stand that ride. Green Lantern sucks.
Yeah,
that sucks. That ride sucks. That replaced the Great American Scream Machine, which also kind of sucked. But I would have rathered had Scream Machine there. The problem with Scream Machine was it hurt your head pretty bad. Batman the Ride, great coaster. Very sharp with its turns and everything like that. But that could also hurt your head. I believe at one point for a limited time they made that ride go backwards.
Batman went backwards for a year, yeah.
For a year. Do they still do that?
No.
Oh, no.
I believe it was It was either 2016 or 2017. It was.
Oh, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
It honestly feels like yesterday they just decided to do that. But yeah, they used to have. I don't know if you remember this one either. The Movietown Water Effect. That was the water ride, kind of like not really a log flume, but it's the one where you stand on the bridge, and when the cart goes down and makes the big splash, everyone gets soaked on the bridge.
The only thing I could think of is log flume.
Well, log flume, the Sawmill Log Flume and Congo Rapids are the only two water rides there in the park. Mm-hmm. But then they have Hurricane Harbor to compensate for that. And you know what? I do say just Six Flags Great Adventure, but I mean all the three parks that are there, including Wild Safari is great. Wild Safari, being able to, especially back in the day, drive your own car.
Well, now it's like that permanently again.
Correct, but the monkeys used to be able to climb on the car and everything like that. You were used to be able to feed them. Not that it was ever good for them to feed them. I'm actually glad they stopped with that. But that was always classic, seeing the monkeys and go on the car. Hurricane Harbor, I like it. It's okay. I don't think they have enough slides.
Definitely not.
But the other thing is, too, it kind of skis me out. The park kind of skis me out. And actually, Great Adventure, too. I think it's a pretty dirty park.
They're both extremely dirty.
Yeah, I don't think they maintain it well as far as cleanliness at all. But I feel like I spoke a lot on Great Adventure just there, so that I'll end it there. Is that with my number 4?
Okay. Let's see. I'm thinking number 4. I think I'm going to go with... I'm trying to figure out what I want to put on my list.
Yeah. Well, you've been to... how many theme parks... well, I shouldn't say theme parks. Amusement parks have you been to?
Great Adventure... Six Flags New England, Busch Gardens Tampa, SeaWorld Orlando, Universal, Disney World, Coney Island if you count that.
Sure.
Nickelodeon Universe and the American Dream Mall.
Oh yeah.
I think that might be it.
Busch Gardens?
Did
you say Busch?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 7?
8.
Oh, that's 8.
There might be one or two more that I can't remember. But those are the ones.
Hershey.
And Hershey, that's right. Yep. So I think number 4 is going to be Six Flags New England.
Six Flags New England, okay.
So I went there, me and my 2 friends went there, and getting there, or no, I'm thinking that was Hershey Park. No, getting there was fine. It was a 4-hour drive up north. It was like, it's on the border of Massachusetts.
Okay.
So we got there, and they have a couple of just really intense rides that I really like. They have Superman the Ride, which is not like our Superman. It's a sit-down coaster.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's all about speed. It lifts you up, and then it just like rushes you through the track as fast as possible.
I love that. It was probably a good ride.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Then they have... God, I don't remember what it was called, but it was just a really intense, like, spinning coaster. Like, you go on the track, and then the cart spins as you're going through it.
Oh.
And it was, like, really intense. I like that one.
Okay.
I gotta give it credit, even though I didn't go on it, and I never will go on it. They have a 400-foot swing ride. Like, Sky Screamer, but it's 400 feet.
Sky Screamer sketches me out.
Yeah.
So that one's taller.
400. It's, like, another 150 feet taller, yeah.
You know, we were talking about carnival rides, how that sketches me out. Chain swing, yeah. Chain swings, the regular one, I'm fine on that. But chain supporting me from staying all the way up there, not happening, sorry.
I don't do it either. I just have a huge fear of heights. That's my problem. But yeah, they have, it almost matches King to Cow's height, the swings. So, you know, that's pretty crazy to have in a park. And then... I don't want to get it wrong. I forgot what it was called, but it's an RMC. RMC stands for Rocky Mountain Construction.
Okay.
That's their type of ride. They just call it an RMC. Basically, RMC's specialty, or at least it used to be their specialty. I don't think they do it anymore. They used to do these things where they would take an old, beat-up wooden coaster that wouldn't be able to live on its own anymore, and they go in and basically reinvent the ride. So they give the wooden coaster like new supports, and they also replace the wooden track with steel track. So it's a hybrid between wood and steel.
Oh, okay.
So it's basically all the craziness you would expect from a wooden coaster, but smooth because you're on steel instead of just hard wood.
I actually love that.
Yeah. RMC made Jersey Devil.
Oh, they did?
That single rail coaster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're known for. They call them RMC Raptors. They're single rail coasters.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I really don't want to mess it up. I think it was like Twisted Cyclone.
Okay.
I think that's what it was called. I might have that wrong. But yeah, that was just really fun, really intense wooden ride, or wooden steel hybrid ride. But yeah, I just had a good time. I was over there, and it's just a quick trip. I've only been there once. I went there for a couple hours, but the things they have are notable to me. So I'll put that at my number 4.
Okay, sounds good. How's the clean? Is it clean there?
I didn't really notice if it was clean or dirty,
Yeah,
but
you were only there
they
once.
did have some like cool aesthetic things. Like I think they had if I'm remembering correctly, they had like an actual boardwalk section. I might be wrong about that, but they had a cool atmosphere there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, my number 3 is Universal Studios Hollywood in California.
Wow.
Yeah. So the thing I like about the Hollywood Universal Studios is that they have the studio tours there. And you know me, I'm a big movie buff and everything like that. So going on that tour, which by the way, I think it's like an hour long, that thing, or maybe even a little bit longer for that matter. I loved that when I went there. I thought it was incredible. They showed so many set pieces and not even just set pieces, like whole sets of like a town, small like housing developments and everything like that. They had this totally broken down, like crashed plane there. I forgot. I think that plane was there for War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. They had the lake with a huge green screen there that they used for Bruce Almighty when he walked on water. They had housing developments there, like I said, where they used that for multiple purposes. They have Bates Motel there as well. The whole motel, it's there. It's incredible. A whole bunch of classic movie cars, like the Back to the Future car. What else did they have there? I think the Ghostbusters car was there. All things of that nature. And the facts, like the tour guide, the facts that they give, it really was incredible. And that will always be, if not the only memorable thing from Universal Studios Hollywood. But it left such an impact on me because I'm so into that stuff. So it was great. The park itself, it's small. It's a small park like Disneyland. In fact, I don't know if we went. I think Universal Studios Hollywood has the Islands of Adventure there as well.
I'm not sure.
I think they might. They have another park, like separate, like subdivision park. And I don't remember if we even went in there, but I think that's where most of like the more of the extreme rides were and everything like that. But I was younger then, so we didn't go to that one. They had some of the same rides there, like Universal Studios Florida, but just not as much. So the reason why it's at my number 3 is because of the studio tour, to be honest with you. And I would love to go back there again to see what updates they made to that tour and whatnot. Maybe there's new set pieces there and everything from more recent movies and everything like that. So I am curious about that. But yeah, that'll be my number 3.
if I'm not mistaken, I think I actually remember did you see Nope by Jordan Peele?
No, that's his most recent one. No, I did not see that.
At the end, I stayed after the credits for some reason. I think they actually said, come to Universal Hollywood. They have some of the set pieces from Nope there, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Definitely
cool.
You see, so that's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they probably updated and showcased newer things from more recent movies. Yeah.
All right, so for my number 3, I think I'm gonna go Six Flags Great Adventure.
Okay.
There are just two, even with how the park is now, which I'm gonna go into.
Mm-hmm.
There are too many classic rides there that you can't not call it one of the best parks in the USA. Like, you just can't. You have El Toro, which is just known as the best wooden coaster. Like, it's just known. It's known as the best wooden coaster.
I'm glad you're saying that, because you've been to more amusement parks than me. That's great to hear, and I believe it. Yeah.
It is known as the best, if not one of the best. It's constantly won awards every year for best wooden coaster.
Yeah.
It's insane, it's just intense. You get crazy airtime.
Oh, yeah.
You know that noise you hear, like when it's at the top of the hill and it's like that roaring thunder? Yeah. That is literally, so on a train, they have the wheels, like the top wheels, the side wheels, and the bottom wheels.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom wheels are called the upstop wheels. And it's just meant so that the car doesn't go flying off.
Yeah, right.
When it is making that noise, that is the only wheels on the track are the upstop wheels. That is how intense the force is going over that hill, where none of the other wheels are on the track. That noise is just the upstop wheels just grinding across that.
That's
because
incredible.
You're getting so launched.
Yeah.
You're getting flung out of your seat.
It's a fast ride. Yeah.
So you have that, like we said, Nitro. Just, Nitro, it's nothing too crazy, but it's just a classic. Like, you'll just always have a good time on it. You get that sensation of just, like, flying. You're going through the air.
Yeah.
Getting a bunch of airtime.
The other thing with Nitro, too, it's very scenic.
Yeah, extremely scenic. Yeah.
Very scenic,
Definitely. You go through the woods.
Yeah, right.
You get to see the lake.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And then, you have that 2-circle thing where you kind of gray out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you have those kind of airtime hills at the end. And,
yes.
It's actually kind of a not controversial, but it's a highly debated thing in the coaster community. It's like, is Nitro worthy of having the title of being, like, one of the greats? Just because, if you think about it just from a broad perspective, like, it's a basic layout. You just go up and down, and then you do a little circle.
Right.
But regardless of that, it's just so fun. Like, it's
agree.
just always so fun. You always have that sensation of just, like, this is amazing.
Sometimes simpler is better when it comes to roller coasters, for
Definitely.
sure. Yeah.
And then something I think you kind of glazed over this, honestly.
What's that?
King Ka. King Ka's, it's still the tallest roller coaster in the world. It's not the fastest. It's the second fastest.
Yeah.
But still, that feeling of just sitting there and you hear head back, hands inside, hold on, and then you hear the
yes,
and then it just launches you. That is like, you will never forget that through your entire life.
You're right. Ever. I definitely passed by that when I was talking about Great Adventure. Yeah.
You will never, ever. That is ingrained. Even if you go on it once, that will always be ingrained into your head because of the fear. You're fucking shitting your pants when you're on that ride, especially the first time.
Oh yeah.
You hear that head back, hold on, and then you're. Like, that is insanity. You will be shitting your pants, but at the end of the day, it is the most intense coaster I've ever been on, easily.
Oh, yeah.
And I gotta be honest, for me, it's not the height. And I know, like, it's kind of not controversial, it's kind of hypocritical that I have a huge fear of heights and I still go on all these rides.
Yeah.
But Kingda Ka, not about the height to me at all. It's all about the launch. To me, Kingda Ka is the launch. If it was just a straight up ride, I don't think it would be half as good.
No, I agree. The best part of it is the launch.
Easily the launch. You get launched 128 miles per hour in 3.5 seconds.
Yeah,
it's insanity.
Incredible. It's incredible.
Then you go up, you go all the way down, you have that one little airtime hill at the end. You're just like, holy shit, right?
And you know what? You're getting that speed just from a string pulling you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's incredible.
It's a slingshot.
It's a slingshot, right. That's incredible.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
And then you have your other classics. You have Batman, That's always intense ride. If you go on Batman, you're gonna get whipped around, but in a good way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Bizarro, which is Medusa, which was Bizarro, which is now Medusa again.
Yeah, right.
It's nothing crazy,
but
it's still a good ride. Definitely a good ride.
Yeah.
And then you have the classics, Mine Train. That thing is rough as hell nowadays.
Nowadays,
but it's a classic ride.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it get retract. I don't want to see it go. I think it's a perfect ride for families. They
better not get rid of that.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect ride for families, especially the younger kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't think it's a perfect ride for families anymore, considering if you're probably an adult, you're gonna break your back on that thing.
Yeah, sure. Skull Mountain,
yeah.
Didn't bring that one up before.
Another classic,
yeah.
Jersey Devil, I have my complaints about it. I think it's extremely overrated. When it came out, a lot of people were like, oh my god, top 3 in the park. Absolutely not. No. Kingda Ka Nitro El Toro, that will always be the top 3 in my heart.
I've yet to be on it.
I don't think anything will dethrone that. I don't think anything will dethrone that 3. Jersey Devil, it's a cool ride. I wish it was faster. It's kind of slow for what type of coaster it is. But it's fun. It's a good time. I would not wait more than like 10-15 minutes for it. That's just my opinion. But I also wouldn't wait 15 minutes for a lot of rides. I'm just really impatient.
Gotcha.
But we also have a good, selection of flat rides. Wonder Woman, that is a fantastic ride.
Wonder Woman is great.
Justice League, that's really fun.
I've been on that
before.
The
laser shooter.
Fun. That is fun, yeah.
You have Joker, which the roller coaster Joker.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's an experience.
I haven't been on that yet either.
It freaks you out a little bit, flipping throughout the whole ride.
That's cool to me.
But, after a couple rides, you're like, all right, I don't really need to experience that again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the line that thing gets sometimes is absolutely insanity. And the same thing with Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, yeah, you're right.
It's a cool ride. How people justify in their head waiting an hour plus for that's insanity to me.
I don't think I could do that anymore either. I can't do that.
Because that's one of the rides that always gets a long queue, and it's fun, but more than 25 minutes, I'm not waiting on Wonder Woman for that.
No way.
But yeah, all right, now I want to get into my grievances with the park.
Okay.
So, Six Flags has always been struggling to stay afloat in the water. Ever since 2008, I believe, when they went bankrupt.
Right.
They barely got out.
Yep.
Been just barely hanging on. And then COVID happened. They switched CEOs twice. It went from the first CEO to the second CEO, which was, I believe his name was Mike Spanos. He was the former president of either Pepsi or Coke.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't even get a fair shot because he literally became CEO maybe a couple months before the pandemic. Did as best as he could.
Yeah.
He got removed from the board because it wasn't doing as well as they hoped. But, I wouldn't consider that his fault.
I wouldn't either.
And now we have the new president. His name is Salim Basul. And I hate this guy. I hate him so much. He does not understand what makes a theme park a theme park. Mm-hmm. When he got hired, he said, we do not need any more new rides. We have plenty rides as it is. And this is across the whole chain, not just Great Adventures. So no more new rides for the next 3 years.
Really?
He said, we're going to focus on beautifying the park and beautifying the guest experience, making it easier for them to spend money. If you want to beautify the park, sure. The park's a dump. Go ahead.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
If you think for a second that you can get away with adding nothing new for 3 years, you do not know how theme parks work.
Right.
And you know what happened? I think maybe 3 to 6 months later, attendance dropped by 23%.
Yeah.
23%. That is almost a quarter of your attendance
gone. Right.
That is atrocious.
That is, yeah.
So then what happened? Investor call happened. We're adding new rides next year, everyone. We're adding new rides.
You know what? They probably, if they did want to stick with not adding anything for the next 3 years, they probably should have just stayed quiet about that instead of making an announcement.
Yeah. Well, they have to be to their investors because Six Flags had a thing.
Right. Yeah.
Six Flags had a formula. They would add something new to every park every year. That was their thing.
Yeah.
That was Six Flags staple right there. No matter what it was, there was something new to your park the next year.
Yeah.
It's just that got me so mad, the no new rides thing.
Yeah.
There's also just been so many stupid mistakes and just choices. Like, they have introduced probably over 5 different pass systems within the past 2 years.
Yeah, I was hearing about a little bit of that from you. Yeah.
There was the memberships, which I still have. They're grandfathered in. Mm-hmm. Then there was like the Extreme Pass. That's gone now. And then there was like the Thrill Pass, and then this pass. Those are gone now.
They all sound like the same exact thing.
And now they basically just brought back the memberships, but in season pass form. So there's gold, platinum, and diamond now. That's
Whatever happened to just getting a season pass? What happened to that?
You know what? You can still get it, but now it's just under tiers. There's no just like.
That's what I'm saying, though.
It's gold, platinum,
That's what I understand. They're trying to make more money off of the way they're doing it now. But what happened to just having a season pass with all the benefits?
It's like money
you would get.
Money. That's
it's
what
crazy.
Happens.
It's crazy.
Yeah, when they introduced the memberships, I think it's just so annoying now because of how confusing it is, because of the mess they made themselves of how many fucking passes there are.
Yeah, they're confusing. Yeah.
I thought the membership program they introduced when I got mine was perfect. Mm-hmm. They had the season pass. You can get a season pass. That was it.
Yeah.
You just get a season pass. And then if you wanted to go the step above, then you got the memberships. There was gold, platinum, diamond elite. Mm-hmm. So you could there was plenty of options to choose.
And they were all simplified. Too. Yeah.
They were all simplified. I got the diamond elite because I went literally every other day.
Yeah.
And it was simple, and then Salim came in and changed it, and now there's gold, platinum, diamond, and then Six Flags Plus, which is their new monthly membership.
Monthly membership.
Yeah, that's what I have too. It's a monthly membership, but it's just they're calling it Six Flags Plus because of all these streaming services, Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's so unoriginal nowadays. Yeah,
just so many grievances and so many stupid mistakes. Half the park this year wasn't even open until Memorial Day weekend. The entire section of old country with Log Flume, Bizarro, Runaway My Train, it was literally fenced off, and there was a sign saying this will open on Memorial Day weekend. Wow. Imagine opening your park and not having
with barely anything
half
open
your
for
park
that
open.
Matter. Yeah,
Insanity.
It's a cheap move.
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
But yeah, that's why Six Flags is my number 3. It'd probably be higher if it was maintained more.
Yeah, agreed. So they said one last thing about Great Adventure. They said that they're going to add a new ride every year. What did they announce for this year?
No, that was their old formula. Before the new presidents of the park came
in. And then you said they retracted their statement.
They retracted the statement of adding no rides. They said they're going to be investing in rides.
Oh, but they didn't say
they're not going back to the formula.
Like that.
They're not going back to the formula of adding something new every year to every park.
Okay.
However, it's coming out now. The story's unfolding. There have been markers spotted inside the park by Cyborg, by Justice League, and by the front gate. There are markers, and there have been construction workers surveying area. So something new is 100% coming next year.
Yeah.
And it's been theorized. Next year is the park's 50th anniversary.
Mm.
And the current CEO did say, he was in an interview, he said it's going to be big. So... new roller coaster? I hope so.
I hope so too.
I think the park could use another high thrill ride, absolutely.
Same here. But I could also think if it's through that whole area that they're making markers for, it could be a whole new extension to the park, maybe? Like a new world in the park?
I don't.
But that would have to consist of multiple rides then.
Yeah,
that would be hard to do for just 1 year.
Also, I'm theorizing. I think it's going to be a front gate coaster. It's going to be a coaster you see as you're walking into the park. It's going to go above you, as you look up to the sky.
That's cool.
Because it goes all the way from like next to Justice League, and then to the entrance.
That's a big area.
It's a pretty decent sized area.
Yeah,
like
that
through
is.
The picnic area, that old picnic
that's
area.
What I'm saying. Yeah.
So I hope, I just hope and hope and hope it's a big ride. Probably won't be, but I can dream.
Yeah, for sure. And of course they're going to say it's going to be something big.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to say it no matter what. But all right. My number 2, still in the same realm. It's Universal Studios Orlando this time. Much bigger park than Hollywood. Better rides there than Hollywood. They don't have the studio tour there in Orlando, but that's okay. The Incredible Hulk coaster, fantastic. The what is it called? My Adventures with Spider-Man or something like that.
Yeah,
that's great. The Doctor Doom Freefall, great. What else? Harry Potter World. I was only there for the first section of Harry Potter World that opened, and I went on all the rides there.
That was when they had the. Am I getting this wrong? Dueling Dragons.
Yes, they remodeled.
Something dual coaster.
They rethemed Dueling Dragons. Yes.
Actually, I don't think it's there anymore.
It really.
I'm pretty sure it's gone. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, that was the first time
I didn't get to go on. I remember waiting on the line, and then the ride broke down after we waited an hour.
That was a ride that always broke down too. It's something about the dual coasters. Yeah, it's weird like that. When you go into Hogwarts Castle and everything like that for that ride, fantastic.
Yep.
The butterbeer there, fantastic. Yep. They have the Jurassic Park ride there as well.
Yes, they do.
Which is pretty good. It's pretty good. I like the animatronics for that. And speaking back again to the 4D rides, they like Spider-Man. I guess you could consider that in a sense.
It is.
Transformers, The Simpsons, which The Simpsons I love.
Yeah.
Men in Black, I guess you could kind of consider. Men in Black is kind of like Justice League at Six Flags. I just, and then they have that newer one. I think it's called the Hollywood Coaster or something like that. It's the one that, like, you're going straight up, slow in the beginning, and then straight down.
That's not new.
That's not new, but it's one of their newer coasters. It's probably their latest coaster. No, it's not?
No. Their latest coaster is Jurassic World Velocicoaster, which is insane.
You're right. Yeah. I did hear about that. You're right. So, once again, haven't been there in a while, but I would love to go back there again for 2 main facts, really. One, check out new rides there and everything like that, see how the park is, go on ones that I've already been on before, bring back old memories and everything. And now that I'm older, I would love to experience City Walk with all the restaurants and bars there right outside of the park.
Yeah.
I think it would be a great time, and that's why I'll always take Universal Studios Orlando over Disney World any day, because it's just for an older audience, and I love it. I love it.
Definitely.
It's just that stage of life. I don't know what it is. I know it's not there anymore, but Shrek 4D was one of my favorite rides there. And now I believe it's a Minions ride right across from that, which took over the Jimmy Neutron through the multiverse of Nickelodeon. They visited SpongeBob and everything there.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, you don't remember that? Jimmy Neutron and I think it was Sheen. They traveled the multiverse to go see the Fairly Odd Parents and SpongeBob and everything like that. Very good ride. The Terminator live action show.
I don't remember that either.
Pretty cool. Simpsons took over Back to the Future, which was also a great ride. And I'm just trying to remember, when I was younger, they had the Barney show there too, which I loved. I was a huge fan of Barney back in the day. It's just a great park. It's another one of those ones that you get fully immersed in their world. Simpsons World is fantastic. They have Moe's bar there and everything like that. A whole bunch of Easter eggs going on in that park, that area alone. It's great. A ride that I was petrified of when I went on it for the first time, Tornado. Tornado, you're literally standing up. It's like a 4D ride, except you're standing up on a platform.
I don't think I've ever been on that or seen
I was
that.
so scared of that ride. So scared of that ride. I know I think that got taken over by the Jimmy Fallon ride now. And then what was the last thing I wanted to say about it? There was one other thing. Oh, man. I can't believe I'm forgetting this right now. I was just about to bring it up. Oh, I have a suggestion of a new ride. They should get rid of Jimmy Fallon through Hollywood or whatever. Make it back into a tornado type of ride, but except make it a Oppenheimer ride, feeling the effects of the atomic bomb going off. Think that would be
cool.
I think that would be incredible.
But I also think there's some moral dilemma there with making a ride about Oppenheimer as like a theme park attraction.
I
think people would be like, what the fuck?
I kind of see what you're saying, but I don't know, man. The movie was made by Universal. That's one. Two, it's getting great reception from audience and critics. People are loving it. People aren't seeing a problem being made with a movie made about killing
because
thousands of people.
The movie isn't celebrating it. The movie is very aware.
It's not celebrating it,
that it's not a good thing.
And neither should the ride, though.
Yeah.
Neither should the ride,
But if it's in a theme park, I don't know. That's just kind of a weird.
Now I'm seeing more of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing. But come on, that would be cool, though.
It would be cool, but
that would be cool.
It would be cool to experience, but it would just be like, yeah.
It's like, oh wow, now I know what it feels like in here.
Yeah. Now I know how it felt like.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Yeah. You have someone there actually hear shit like, yeah, I don't know about this. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's my number 2. Universal Studios Orlando, fantastic park.
Okay. My number 2, Busch Gardens Tampa. Just went there about 2 weeks ago at this point.
Okay.
I didn't even get to go on every ride. However, this park probably has one of the best lineups you could ask for. They have a Superman type ride. They have a launch coaster. They have 2 launch coasters actually. They have one like intense launch coaster, and then they have another one that I got on. It was called Tigress, and it's basically it's only one train. There can only be one train on there at a time because there's just one track.
Yeah.
And it starts you off in the station. The station itself has the launch pieces in it, and you go up, and then you go back down and launches you backwards, and then you launch again. You keep launching until you finally make it over the hill.
Oh.
And when you get over the hill, you're going super slow. I'm talking like probably 10, 15 miles per hour. And then it does the slowest barrel roll, so you're just hanging over for like a really long time.
Oh my god.
And then it does it, and then it does a couple. It's a really short ride, but really cool, really fun.
I would be scared I would get stuck in a corkscrew.
Yeah.
That would be ridiculous. Imagine being stuck upside down. God.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
Yeah.
Then they had... Man, I can't even remember the names. They had Montu. Montu is basically just a more extreme Batman, believe it or not. Just really hammering through those G-forces. You're going to have blood rushing from your head at the end of it.
Yeah.
But it's just literally a more extreme Batman. I liked it. There was a ride that was closed that I really wanted to go on. It was called Cheetah Hunt, and it was a launch coaster. It basically launched you and then made you go through these super tight track, like close by swings and everything.
Yeah.
Didn't get to go on it, but it looked extremely fun. Actually, no. Then there was, oh my god, this was the highlight. Iron Gwazi. That is the newest ride there. And it is insane. So if you remember before, I was talking about Twisted Cyclone at Six Flags New England. The hybrid wooden metal coaster. This is another hybrid wooden metal coaster. But this is the most insane... One of the most insane rides I've ever been on in my life.
Really?
The shit it makes you go through. It goes up, 90-degree drop. You go straight down. Immediately, it brings you back up, and you do like it. This ride is not afraid to just completely bank you 90 degrees to the left.
Oh.
Like, you will go up a hill, and the track will just go completely right, and you'll just be sideways, and it whips you around. You do you do an extended barrel roll, like a 0G moment, where it'll put you upside down while you're going like that. So you're just hanging upside down as you're going fast. Barrel rolls, corkscrews, the whole thing. Iron Gwazi, easily one of the best roller coasters I've been on in my life as of right now.
Okay.
And yeah, they just had a handful other things. It was just really good. It's just a really good
Where was this
thing.
park?
Busch Gardens, Tampa in Florida.
Okay, so I noticed you said Tampa in the title of it. There's other Busch Gardens?
There is a Busch Gardens Williamsburg in Virginia.
Okay, have you been to that one?
No.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One day.
Okay. Should I move on to my number one?
Yeah.
Okay. My number one is Hershey Park. Fell in love with that park very unexpectedly. I didn't think anything of it ever until I actually went there. Mm-hmm. And they have, like you said, a great lineup of rides like Busch Gardens. I think they have a great lineup as well with rides. All different type of rides, flat rides and roller coasters. A good amount of them, too. One of my favorite things was that, I think Hershey Park was... Actually, no, I'm not even going to say that because it's not true. I was going to say it's the second theme park I've ever been to, but that's not true. But I've always been going to Great Adventure during that time. Mm-hmm. And then going to Hershey Park, it was just so much cleaner at that park. They keep that park very, very clean. And I know that's like a boring thing to bring up, but it's the fact. It's the fact. It's true. You feel better when you're in a cleaner environment and whatnot. I remember one of my favorite memories with you of all time is that we tricked you on going on the wooden roller coaster that had a flip.
Super duper looper.
Super duper looper. We tricked you. I don't know how we were able to do that because of the title of the coaster. You were like, oh, I don't want to go on it if it does flips or anything. We're like, no, it's a wooden roller coaster. There is no. But the title of it is a super duper looper. So anyway, you loved it afterwards. I really think that's what really first got you into rides. Yeah. That was a great one. I have never seen a wooden roller coaster that did a flip, even though they kind of cheated because that part of it is steel, the flip. They also have one that reminds me of King of It's like a slingshot type of ride.
Yes, yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. I experienced it for the first time 2 years ago, I believe. I can't remember the name, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. The water park is inside the main... I mean, it's all just one big park. Yeah. They have the water park section of it. Good amount of them. There's another great wooden roller coaster at Hershey.
I think I know.
Is it the water park.
Dueling one?
No. Oh, no. Yeah, it is. It is.
I just went on that for the first time 2 years ago too.
That's a great one.
Yeah, it was great.
And unfortunately, I don't remember the name of that one too. It's been a while since I've been at Hershey. We went there for one of Gia's dance tournaments or something like that. That's my number one because I just remember having such a surprisingly amazing time at Hershey Park and how much I loved it. That, and it's probably the least I had to say about any of these on my list. I just know it's my number one. So I'm going to close my list off there, and you can move on to yours.
So, honestly, I should have... I think if I had to go back, I would probably replace my number 4 with Hershey instead of New England.
Okay.
But it's kind of for the same reasons. They just have a really good lineup.
Yeah.
And I had a really good time both parks. So you could do number 4... New England / Hershey Park.
Sure, okay.
Number 1, Universal Islands of Adventure in Orlando.
Oh, okay.
So,
right.
You haven't been there in a while.
No.
They have 2 new roller coasters there, and they are absolutely insane. Easily top 2 roller coasters I've ever been on in my life. The first one is... Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. It's a new roller coaster in the Harry Potter world.
Yeah.
And it puts you on a bike and a sidecar bike.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen pictures of that.
It's a multi-launch coaster. It'll just launch you continuously through the track. And it's just insane. you'll go, and it's like a standard ride at first. You're swinging, and then it gets crazy because you take a turn, you go up, and you go up a hill that has an ending, so you start going backwards. Little do you know, the fucking track behind you just switched. The track just moved. So you're going on a completely different layout
train
now.
Track.
Yeah, so you're on a completely different layout now. You're going backwards, like going through, and then you go in a cave, and you get stuck, and the wizard's like, all right, we're gonna get you out of here, and you're charging up a spell. The whole thing goes dark, and the literal track drops. The track itself drops down a couple feet into another track.
Whoa.
And then it launches you out of the cave. It's like, here we go. And you go launching. It is the most insane technical coaster I've ever been on in my life.
Wow.
What an experience. I was like, when I rode that for the first time, I was like, that's my new number one. Easily.
That sounds like it would be a number one contender for me too.
It was insane. Amazing.
And then there's one other roller coaster.
Jurassic World Velocicoaster.
Yes.
This has to be my number one and my number two. Like, it has to be. And maybe number three, just because Kingda Ka, I think, always has to be in there.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park Velocicoaster, I was not expecting it to be this intense. It's another multi-launch coaster.
Yeah.
The first launch is like, oh, that's cool. And, I didn't know it was a multi-launch, actually. I thought there was only one launch. So we went through the first launch. It was pretty strong. I was like, oh, this is cool, right? We're swinging. Start slowing down a little bit. And then we hit the second launch. And this second launch was intense. Like, one of the most intense launches I've been on. Like, obviously, Kingda Ka will always be it. But this had to be second or third most, like, intense launch.
Yeah.
We freaking rocketed out of that little cave we were in into this upward spike. Like, you started, like, near the ground, and it launched you 100 feet into the air.
Wow.
And then it brought you back down, and then you do this barrel roll literally maybe 10 feet above a lake. So, like, you just see the water. You're like, holy shit, we're about to hit the fucking water.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was just really insane. The queue was amazing. They had raptor animatronics in cages.
Yeah.
Like, just, running around. They had screens where you see, like, dinosaurs like, slamming against the wall.
Yeah.
And then they had a whole scene with Chris Pratt and the other, like, ginger lady.
Yeah, what's her name? I forgot her name.
I don't know. I don't remember. But she was basically just explaining the plot and stuff. It was just so cool. I had a great time. Incredible Hulk, classic.
Incredible Hulk is a classic.
Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom, I appreciated him more because they have a whole cartoon. There's a literal cartoon of the ride in the Dr. Doom queue. They have a giant screen where it's like, you have been selected. And it's like, he puts you down. He puts this kid down in the seat. He's like, we're going to extract your fear and use it to conquer the world. And they, like, it basically, the fear just, like, kills everyone on the ride. He's like, your contribution is, like, it's like, is appreciated.
You want to know what another good ride there is? I don't know if it's still there. The Mummy.
Yes, The Mummy. I also forgot to bring... Yes, The Mummy was amazing. Had a great time on that. That was also, I think, you went backwards on that ride, too, if I remember correctly.
And remember, they fake you out. You think it's the end of the ride, and then you keep on going. Yep.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That Universal, just easily the best park in Florida, in my opinion. I don't think anything even competes. I'm sorry, Disney. I'm sorry.
Oh, I agree with you, man.
I mean, Busch Gardens, Tampa, maybe. But other than that, it is a sweep. I cannot stand when people say that Disney's better than Universal.
Because there are some major hardcore fans for Disney.
I know. I can't. I'm not even a hardcore fan of Harry Potter. I'm not a hardcore fan of
Me
Jurassic
neither, but
Park.
you want to know what?
But
They immerse you in that world and the rides, man.
The rides is what matters.
I was also going to say, nothing beats going on a roller coaster for the first time, not expecting a certain thing to happen. It's the best, one of the best feelings ever. Yeah. But all right, we're gonna close it up there. I believe we had two pretty fair lists, to be honest with you. Very diverse list of parks too. Listen, have you been to any of the parks that we stated just before? If you did, let us know your top 5 amusement parks, favorite amusement parks, in the comments below. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and follow us on all social media platforms at Frank_videos. You can also listen to this podcast audio-only version on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Tommy, thank you for joining the podcast. I appreciate you being here. And until next time, Peace out. This is a all of a sudden podcast. My sister Gia texted me while they were out drinking bottomless mimosas and asked if they wanted to do a podcast. And I was like, all right. First I said no, actually. And then I was like, you know what, fine. So without further ado, I'll introduce my sister Gia, second time on the podcast. Welcome again. And then we got everybody else here.
Liv? I'm afraid.
Let's see, Joe. Guys, like...
I told you it opens by itself!
That's crazy.
Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me! Why don't you come on over, TDP?
Which one are we doing next? That was all.